All right, well, good morning, everybody. And today we're going to hear about a number of things. We're going to touch on some of the public health and corona updates, but mostly we're going to focus on downtown and our efforts to reinvigorate the rejuvenation that was sort of in process, but obviously put on hold primarily because of corona, but also because of some of the events we had with respect to damages. So we're going to go into detail on all of those items today. Now, we'll introduce our guests as they come by, but in general, we're going to have some folks from our downtown public safety district. We're also going to have our economic development director, Cynthia Jaramillo, and also the owner of this building and operator of a couple of businesses here in downtown share some comments as well. So let me begin with some updates from our Joint Information Center. Of course, want to mention that the state did announce yesterday some statewide gating criteria and so forth, updated health orders. So if you're unfamiliar with that, please check out the state website. Also want to mention that the biggest thing is just really working on everyone wearing their face covering. That's probably the biggest thing here, and also making sure that violators, there is a fine and so forth in process that is now in law that can be levied upon folks not doing it. Of course, at the city, we have $1 million available that we've put up to help businesses provide face coverings, both for customers and employees. I just signed that bill this morning, and so those funds are going to be starting to be available. So if businesses need help helping to accommodate that state order, the city is there to help. Please reach out to Cynthia's department. Of course, we want to mention that in Bernalillo County, we want to make sure that we don't fall victim to what is happening with respect to other major metropolitan areas around the country. So, as a reminder, with respect to the fact that we're a large city and a rural state, we've actually done very well with respect to our peers in other states. That's a good thing. But we know that all of them are backsliding big time, and so we want to prevent that backslide. So that's why we got to keep doing what we're doing and make sure that we continue to actually be a national leader when it comes to the various criteria and so forth for major urban centers in states. And so the new regulations will help us do that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about downtown. Now, we also want to acknowledge, as I've always said, that most major cities rise and fall with their downtown areas. And so downtown right now is experiencing a heavy burden with respect to corona, and we're going to talk about what that exactly means. But I want to touch a little bit on just some basics with respect to downtown. Number one, downtown we know should be strong and attract visitors, businesses, and new residents. And all the metrics that we were seeing before corona actually were pointing in that direction, in a sense that vacancy rates were improved over the last few years, and public safety was actually at least moving in the right direction over the last few years. These are very good things. But unfortunately, we've had three things occur in the last few months. The biggest of which by far is corona, and I want to explain this because when we closed businesses, right, all of the giant office buildings in downtown, the city's only really major urban area with large office buildings, they were all closed. So what happens when those people, those workers, are not coming downtown? It means there is no one to go to lunch at all of these great restaurants. And it means that there's even less people who want to move downtown to be closer to work because now they're not even going to work. So this entire thesis of the notion of an urban center was really disrupted with corona. Now, I want to layer in two other factors on top of that. Of course, we also had the damage from the protests that were originally peaceful, but then, of course, turned violent. And that netted out, and we have all these data available if folks want, about $200,000 worth of damage was the net damage done downtown. And so, again, the sort of positive side is a lot of it was windows and graffiti. There were some cash registers and other goods that were stolen and sort of looted out of a couple of businesses. Fortunately, APD was able to prevent fires from being started. That's when things really, really get dangerous. And so that, of course, is why folks moved in at that time, and we were able to prevent that much more expensive, significant property damage. Now, our small business office has been in touch working with business owners and property owners to follow up on support. So you'll notice right away the city cleaned up the area and broken windows were boarded up. Many businesses did choose to board up windows that were not broken just as a preventative measure, and that made total sense at the time, and we understand that. But I want to remind you that when you go downtown, about half of the board ups that you see were actually preventative board ups. Now, I want to recognize that the city is now also going to move quickly with respect to providing help. So what we're going to announce today is we will actually go ahead and cover a lot of these repair costs. You do need to reach out, fill out the appropriate paperwork, and we got to cross-reference that your insurance is not paying for it. That has to be demonstrated, and then we'll be able to help you. So we are going to take on that responsibility. We're happy to help these businesses that were damaged, and so we'll hear more about that in just a minute. But we also want to talk about related areas of this that are also dragging downtown down. One of them, of course, is the bar closure, and I want to emphasize that we agree with that at the state level. We think that's very sensible. But when you have Main Street being half bars, obviously if bars are closed, you're going to have a downtown that is very dead and businesses that are suffering who run bars. So we just want to acknowledge that reality. And again, we think from a public health standpoint that's important. But we also want to mention that, you know, the reason why downtown is struggling primarily is because of corona-related closures. And again, we think that's appropriate, but that's very different than just board ups. So you've got the fact that bars aren't open, and the biggest factor is the convention center. So a huge part of the downtown economy, especially the hotels, obviously, but also the restaurants and the shops and so forth, especially the art galleries and things like this. It's the convention center crowd. And of course, because of Corona, the convention center has been closed, now for several months. So this is, literally reducing the number of customers downtown by the thousands every day. And so that is also, again, something we're going to try and work on. So we're going to announce, what can we do in the short term? Look, in the long term, hopefully at some point from a public health perspective, we just got to be able to reopen these things. But we're obviously not ready for that right now. So in the short term, we're doing some things like an art walk that you're going to hear about. We still have our Engage program, which allows businesses to try and open at a very discounted rental rate. And we also want to, again, help folks with the repairs that are happening downtown. So other than that, we're going to have to weather sort of the Corona storm. That's really all we can do at this point. But let me wrap up with this. We do know that one day we are going to be able to reopen the convention center and reopen bars. And when that happens, downtown is actually really well positioned. As a city, we have demonstrated something very few cities have been able to demonstrate so far, which is that in Albuquerque, you can have an urban experience, whether it is the high-rise condo, whether it's a music scene, whether it is good food, whether it's also excellent hotels. And it's also world-class performances and entertainment coming out of both the convention center and the Chemo. We've been able to say this is the case in Albuquerque, and for about 1,000 square miles, this is the only place you can get this. So anywhere between Austin, Phoenix, Denver, and El Paso, you can't get that kind of urban downtown experience except in Albuquerque. And so we're very proud of that, and we can market that. But I think on top of all of that, we've demonstrated that we're a healthy city, and that at least today, compared to all of our peers, we have much lower spread rates, we have a much healthier population, and even though you can experience urban downtown living, you can still get all this great open space within minutes. And you can also get great parks and so forth, and access to healthcare. So even in our downtown, we of course have 3 major hospitals within 5 minutes. So this is something actually we think is a thesis going forward where we actually stand up in a much better way when you compare us to, cities like Denver and Austin and Phoenix. They used to tout their downtowns. What they're missing is this healthy thesis, because we have been much healthier through Corona than they have been. And we're proud of that. And we're going to market that. And we're going to let folks know that Albuquerque is a healthier place to have a good downtown experience. So with that, let me hand it over to our Director of Economic Development, Cynthia Armino.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mayor mentioned, my name is Cynthia Jaramillo, and I am the Director of Economic Development for the City of Albuquerque. As Mayor mentioned, no one is happy with the state of downtown over the last month. And I want you to know that my office has been in touch with workers, with the public, business owners, and property owners about concerns for downtown. Our efforts to revive it has been ongoing and happening daily. And we're talking about how we get back the momentum we've lost due to COVID-19. Downtown has been a key piece of our economic development plan, from the rail yards to the new Arrive Hotel, and each and every small business event in between. Now, since June 1st, our Small Business Office, a division of the Economic Development Department, has been working to remain in close contact and communication with the downtown community. We have been working on collecting data on damage costs and working through securing funding and hiring a contractor to replace the broken glass. Now, the city will be working with a company named Glass on Wheels, a local minority-owned company that has been in this community for generations. The city will continue to work with businesses on a case-by-case basis in paying for the cost of glass replacement. Now, Mayor mentioned this, you have got to contact our office. Folks who need assistance, businesses who need assistance, property owners who need assistance, need to reach out to our small business office at 505-768-3730, or you may email us at smallbusinessoffice@cabq.gov. Now, revitalization and regeneration is the plan for downtown. It's been the plan for downtown. And we're ready to move on getting downtown cleaned up, bring people back, and continue to build on the momentum that we were seeing before the coronavirus. Now, at this time, and I'll be back up to speak again, but at this time, I would like to invite up Mark Baker, who is the owner of 505 Central Food Hall and Humble Coffee, to give a few remarks on behalf of the business community. Mark?
Hi, thank you, Cynthia. I'm Mark Baker. I'm the owner of Humble Coffee and 505 Central Food Hall, which will be the newest addition to downtown Albuquerque. It's a concept where we have 7 local restaurants all underneath one roof, and we're really happy to be opening it in about 60 to 75 days. As a business owner in downtown, we've seen wonderful things over the last few months and years, really, where downtown's become a more well-rounded neighborhood. Housing's been added, cafes, art galleries, breweries, in addition to the offices and the bars that we've all known to be down here for so long. So it's becoming a more vibrant, safe place to be and more well-rounded. Prior to the damage that was caused, coronavirus was our biggest issue down here. We've just seen a real loss of foot traffic, as the mayor mentioned, and so it's really important that we all remember to beat this thing and to wear our masks and to take care of each other and to socially distance so that we can put coronavirus behind us. The reason I think downtown is so important is that young people especially are drawn to vibrant downtowns, and as well as tourists and citizens of all ages love a good, vibrant, family-friendly, safe downtown where they can go and experience this density, this kind of walking neighborhood with historic architecture and this urban fabric that you just can't find in the suburbs. And so it's really critical to keep our young people and to encourage people to come to Albuquerque and to move to Albuquerque and grow our economy through building this strong economy. So I want to thank the mayor, and I want to thank all of his team for recognizing that we only have one downtown. There's no other neighborhood like it in the city. And It's really important to protect it and to help it grow. Thank you. Mayor?
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks so much, Mark, and just appreciate everyone's commitment. I know, businesses are suffering all over the country, and of course in the state and in Albuquerque, and it really takes some resolve and some patience. But as I mentioned, that thesis that one day when we're not under Corona regulations, downtown's going to be ready, and so is Albuquerque. And so for us, I think there is some real optimism around the corner. Now, let's go back actually to Cynthia, because we do want to also talk a little bit about the broader Route 66 corridor. So this has been a challenge, again, related to Corona, where a lot of these businesses that are driven by foot traffic and also driven by people, just the connection of like, okay, I work downtown, or I work in Nob Hill, I work in East Downtown, and then on my way home or so forth, I'm going to a restaurant or I'm going to a store to pick up whatever items. This whole dynamic, right, has been disrupted. So we also know that the entire Route 66 corridor has been disproportionately hurt compared to the rest of the city. Now, we did a lot of improvements with respect to the art route and safety over the time of Corona. So as a reminder, we did a bunch of curb lanes and fixes that'll hopefully make that safer, and that art is up and running again. But we also know that we've got to revitalize Route 66. And it's suffering really from two blows, right? Number one is the art project. Number two is Corona. So as a result, our city is using part of the CARES funding and other funding streams available to try and do an economic development revitalization effort up and down Route 66. So to talk about this process and the funds that we're investing, back to our director, Cynthia Harden.
Thank you, Mayor. And as Mayor mentioned, in recent years, this area and along the Central Corridor and much of the urban corridor all along Route 66 has suffered due to ART, the construction of ART, and now the pandemic. Now, the City of Albuquerque recently announced new efforts to support businesses, waiving permit fees for sidewalk and patio seating parklets. We have had a pilot project, as Mayor mentioned, like Engage, where pop-up temporary businesses occupied vacant space in downtown. As a matter of fact, we piloted the project from this space in particular that we're in right now. And of course, we have helped to support events like Art Walk, Somos, and other events in an effort to bring people back downtown. Some of the downtown businesses were also recipients of our micro business relief grant, where they received $5,000 in capital grant funding. And now, what the mayor talked about, the city recently has issued an RFP in the amount of $500,000 to partner with a marketing firm to develop and implement a marketing plan to promote Central Avenue as a destination for business and entertainment. Collaboration with business owners, property owners, and community groups along the Central Corridor will be key, as been said over and over. We want to increase consumer traffic, increase sales, lower vacancy, reverse the media storylines and public perception, and build a more vibrant, energetic, and attractive urban environment. And as we often say, together as one Albuquerque, we can change that narrative. All we need is people to believe in and support and return to the downtown area. Mayor, back to you.
Okay, what we, I think, want to talk about next is a little bit about public safety downtown, because it's hard to remember the world before Corona, but our city and our administration had invested in creating a very unique model, historically anyway, for our town in a downtown public safety district. This was something that we established after long complaints about public safety in the area. It was also an example of us returning to this notion of community policing, where we actually have officers walking the beat, literally downtown, and also bike cops, and also a social worker. And part of this process was also integrating with business owners through what's known as Project Echo. This is something folks can look up. It's a wonderful program originating out of UNM. So we have a Project Echo down here, which really is designed to coordinate social services, housing issues, and also public safety in the downtown area. And so our Commander Brown, who is the Valley Area Command, is going to speak to this as well as Maria Wolf. But I do want to mention that this is still ongoing. We're absolutely still doing this. Obviously, things are quieter downtown and slower downtown, so the dynamic's been a little bit different during Corona. But this has been I think, very successful example of how we can really invest in an area and conduct public safety in a different, integrated way. This was also part of the genesis of the concept of the community safety department initiative that we announced a couple of weeks ago with respect to doing what we've learned downtown really for the entire city. And that's a long-term goal that, again, we announced that we're starting. But we want to remind folks we've actually been doing it right here in downtown. That's where we really got the idea from. And so to talk more about how this has worked out, the commander of the Valley Area Command, which oversees the district, Commander Brown.
Good morning. My name is Josh Brown. I'm the acting commander of the Valley Area Command. First, I'd like to just acknowledge the officers that have stayed in the downtown district throughout the pandemics, the protests. Their work in the downtown area has been a balanced approach of both proactive activity as well as outreach and building those relationships within the community. They've worked hard day in and day out since the coronavirus has taken effect to keep establishing those relationships. The officers partner with HopeWorks to provide case management, which with people who are in homeless conditions, they can help them with shelter, with food, as well as with Street Connect, which is based there in downtown Albuquerque. They work with block by block to identify areas that need to be cleaned up to make it more of a safer and friendly place for people coming into the community. The partnerships they've created with the downtown communication partnerships, officers attend monthly meetings to relay communication that's vital to both businesses and the residents of downtown to push out the information that's vitally important. Through the ECHO program, the officers have had a chance to open a communication network with some of our hospitality partners downtown, as well as any other business opportunities that come in who want to establish that. So when something happens, whether it be police presence in the area, activity that needs to be addressed to the people who live here or who work here, and that kind of chain can go through and get out to the businesses downtown so they know what's going on and they're not left in the dark. And I just want to kind of point out that through all this, the officers have maintained a presence and will continue to be proactive in the downtown area as long as APD has a presence here in the Valley, which will be forever. So I'd like to introduce Maria Wolf. She's our ECHO project coordinator. She works at the ECHO project where the officers come in as moderators. They can sit through, act as SMEs, and it's open to anyone in the public. So Maria, would you like to step up to say a few words?
Hello. So I'm really happy to tell you more about the Downtown Public Safety ECHO program. This is a first of its kind initiative taking a globally recognized program that was developed at the University of New Mexico Health Sciences Center to bring together communities to share best practices in challenging situations and making sure through technology that people across communities can address the needs that maybe are not being addressed. So the ECHO model brings first responders, our police, fire, our businesses, our residents, our workers together to build skills, their knowledge, and resilience to build a safer community. We are first down in the main downtown area to take this model, test it, prove it. It's innovative because it isn't just a lecture format or a problem format, but it's a nice combination where you're looking for the solutions that the community can bring to the table. So it's an everybody teaches, everybody learns process. And it's all about really building that strong community partnership. Since it started, we've had 60 sessions, 27 this year, and because it's based in technology as well as face-to-face interaction, it allows us to continue even when people have to stay home with the COVID situation. So it is a program that can develop solutions for everything from how to de-escalate a dangerous situation late at night outside of a bar to how to respond to somebody having a behavioral health or substance abuse or a homelessness challenge. We can deal with road rage issues, teach people how to use roundabouts and why we have roundabouts in Albuquerque. It's a wide variety of issues that you can address that make people feel safer by participating in this program. We now do 2 sessions a month, the second and fourth Thursday, and all of our downtown community members or others who want to learn about it are invited to join us. They can reach me to get signed up for all of the notifications, and my email is mwolf, M-W-O-L-F as in Frank E, at cabq.gov. Thank you.
Thanks. I just realized too, we probably didn't turn this on. That might sound a little bit better. So sorry about that. But we got a little microphone now. Thank you so much. That program, very, very important for our city, and we very much appreciate UNM, Project Echo, and Maria's work on that. And again, this is something that we hope one day to have in different parts of town, and also as part of our community safety department. Now, we want to close by talking about some things that are happening downtown still, even in the time of Corona, some things that are fun, and some things that also support our creative economy, which we know in Albuquerque is actually one of our biggest sectors, and also one of the hardest hit because of the lack of tourism and the convention center being closed and so forth. So to talk a little bit about this, our Deputy Director for Cultural Services, Hakeem Bellamy.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Mayor. Happy to be here today, both as in my current capacity as a Deputy Director for the Cultural Services Department, but also as an artist who at one time lived downtown. And you often hear us talk about the live, work, play dynamic of rich cultural urban spaces, and I got to benefit from that in many ways. And I would add live, work, play, and create. And so I'm going to share with you some of the things that we're doing to bring properties, because we always have to we necessarily talk about properties when we talk about downtown economic development, but also the people who make downtown what downtown is, and with a specific nod to the artists. So bringing people, property together in socially distant and economically promising ways. One of the ways in which we are doing that is inviting artists to harness the power of temporary visual art to reflect and inspire community as we do all of the repairs, renovations, and housekeeping that we're doing to our buildings and properties downtown. The City of Albuquerque's public art program, which is in the Cultural Services Department, is collaborating with our longtime partner in economic development with local businesses, to help coordinate murals and other street art installations on City of Albuquerque owned and managed buildings and private properties who want to support the effort. And so we've been partnering with economic development since the beginning of Mayor's administration because they saw fit to make the creative economy a huge part of our economic strategy for the city, and this is just another way in which we're continuing to implement that. Every artist is a small business too, that's what we believe, and one that's been hit particularly hard, like the mayor mentioned earlier, by the coronavirus, just as the service industry has. And these brick and mortar businesses downtown have also been impacted severely, and so we're trying to figure out a way to solve for both of those and really help out our artists and our businesses. Creative economy is a huge piece of the Albuquerque pie, of the economy pie, as I mentioned earlier. And by engaging them to do this work, we are helping our creative economy to stay afloat using public funds in our department from our UETF public art program, as well as our special events program to help commission for these pieces that you'll start seeing around downtown. Of note, right across the street from us is the Chemo Theater, and we're happily working with the City Landmark Commission on getting approval to install shutters at the Chemo that will continue to protect almost 100 years of this historic building and protect it for many years to come. So if you're interested in participating in this with our department and you're an artist, you should reach out to us at satellitegalleries@cabq.gov. And if you're a business who wants to participate in this program and support the effort, we encourage you to reach out to our partners in economic development, 768-3730, or as Director Yaramillo shared earlier, smallbusinessoffice@cabq.gov. It should not be lost on us that tomorrow's a Friday, and it's a first Friday. So there will be events that are happening downtown that will be socially distanced, but that also continue to support our creative economy and our artistic community. And so we want to invite folks for we haven't come up with a great name for it. The running name right now is Art Cruise. You can enjoy it from your cars. You can certainly enjoy it from foot in socially distanced ways. And we encourage you to come downtown and be part of the process and part of the progress down here. You could find out more information on that at www.abqartwalk.com. And again, we're going to be practicing all of our social distancing and mask wearing, but we can still celebrate art on this long weekend. So thank you very much. I'll give it back to the mayor.
All right, thank you so much, Hakeem. And just as a reminder, as we head into the holiday weekend, just want everyone to try and wear their mask when they're in public. And again, try and avoid large groups, congregations and gatherings of all sorts. And we also want to remember that if folks, it's obviously 4th of July, so happy 4th of July. Fireworks, 4 locations around the city that you can enjoy from your home. Either front yard or backyard. And again, do not go to the locations of fireworks. There's not a gathering, and those parks are closed. So the idea is hopefully you'll be able to see them, most of us, from somewhere in our home or outside. And also, reminder, Cumulus radio stations are going to be broadcasting a simulcast musical score 9:20 on the 4th of July, 9:20 p.m. on Cumulus Radio. Okay, with that, we'll take some questions. Sure.
Speaking of the 4th, we know locations have kind of changed a couple of times. What role did the governor of the state have at all in kind of getting those locations changed?
It's a good question about the locations. The first one was because of the animal shelter, and we were looking for a new home. We wanted to have locations that were both safe publicly, but also with respect to fire, like fire danger. And so we looked at a couple of different options and landed back at Manzano Mesa for that Southeast Heights quadrant. For details on that, you'd probably have to ask the state or the state fair.
Are you able to speak to how the police department will enforce the wearing of masks in public?
The question is around enforcement of masks in public, and a little bit. So what I can speak to, I would ask APD specifically, but in general, we just seek to educate. That's what we've been doing all along. And so our approach will be to educate folks and remind them to wear masks and so forth and why they're important. And we also know that, as a department, we have a tremendously high call volume. We have crime that has not abated during Corona. So they're really focused on that. That's what our police department is focused on.
Mayor, we have a couple questions here from the Zoom. This is from Peter Rice with the Downtown Albuquerque News. The assistance on repairs would appear to be a violation of the anti-donation clause. Do you see that differently?
Sure. Questions about the assistance being a violation of the anti-donation clause. We got this question, Peter, several times, both helping the nonprofits that we gave money to about a month ago and helping the businesses that we gave another $1 million plus to now 2 months ago for Corona. So it's a good question, but it has been worked out through legal. Basically, as part of our emergency order, we're allowed to bypass that. And so that's the same legal policy that we've used all during Corona, and that will apply to this funding as well.
I'll ask two. One more from Peter Rice with the Downtown Albuquerque News. In terms of the timeline, when do we hope to see downtown relatively free of the boards and windows?
So the question is kind of, as a timeline for boards. And I think for folks, obviously our city buildings, I got to tell you, it really depends. For example, there's some specialty glass required for the chemo, and we were going to do some repairs related to insulation anyway. So those might actually take a little longer because we're going to now do them all at the same time. So it's really going to be business by business. Also, as a reminder, some businesses have put up those, again, as a preventative measure, and it's up to them when they want to take them down. We would encourage them to do so. I do want to say, though, that over the long term, you could check with our planning department. I don't know if it's 9 months or a year, but over the long term, code enforcement will take the boards down. So over the long term, they're not a choice. But of course, in the short term, we understand the security concerns and just availability of labor and things like that. So I think it'll really be a case-by-case basis.
Thank you, Mayor. One question here from GOV headquarters. Where's the money to help businesses with repairs coming from? And is the $200,000 damage estimate total, or what's the funds coming from?
So the question is around the damage funds and some of the numbers. And the 200,000 is actually total, and so that's again what we've gathered from reaching out to all the businesses. And the second question around where the funding is coming from, I'm going to check with Cynthia if she can field that one.
Thank you, Mayor. And so the question on where the funding is coming from to clean up and support the damages, and that's coming from our Metropolitan Redevelopment Agency. This is an MR area, and so that is where the funding is coming from. And the 200,000 is a rough estimate. We've actually rounded up from talking directly to businesses. However, again, we mentioned if you have not heard from us, you need to contact our small business office. And so I imagine we may hear from a business or two following this press conference.
Others?
I just wanted to follow up on my question because you talked about like education for people who might not be wearing masks. Does that mean officers are going to avoid citations, or are they going to be going with more of a warning system at first, or kind of, I guess, what is the expectation for that?
Yeah, it's going to be similar to how we've done enforcement of all the orders. And as a reminder, that's primarily up to actually the state police, but certainly with respect to our department, we're going to handle it the same way as we've handled restaurant closures, occupancies, and so forth. So that means first education, maybe a series of warnings, multiple steps before we'd ever look at an actual fine. Okay, with that, have a great 4th of July, everybody. Thanks.